Progress in the gym, of course, is not linear, right? It has ups and downs, plateaus. But for some reason, when we plan progressive overload, this is what we expect. Just every workout harder than last time. And of course this doesn't work. I was stuck on this for a very long time. And so this is why I wrote True Progressive Overload for this one, because this, the regular progressive overload, is actually a false version of progressive overload. Progressive overload was never really meant to be like that. And once I understood this, my improvement in both muscle and strength really went up a lot. So this is one of the most important things that I ever learned about building muscle and strength. Because this is the channel on building strength and muscle at the same time. I'm a coach, and this is exactly how I built 20 kilos of muscle while at the same time building my strength to do some of the things that you're seeing now. So there are two versions of progressive overload. Basically, there's the normal one here, normal. And then there's what we're gonna call the actual progressive overload. So as we said, the normal progressive overload kind of looks like this, okay? Straight, linear, and the principle is pretty much harder and harder over time. This is the idea behind the regular progressive overload. Basically, if you don't make training more challenging over time, you're not gonna improve. That's true in theory, but in practice, there are some problems. So the line goes linearly up. But when you look at actual progress, actual progressive overload, we could say, this is what it looks like, right? Hopefully, like this is already optimistic, but okay. So this is what actual progress looks like. And so this is what the actual version of progressive overload that we're gonna talk about today, and this is huge, looks like. Pretty much, it's just like this. Training that matches your progress. Instead of forcing it to be linear, which will never happen, the true progressive overload, what it was always meant to be, just matches your progress. So the actual progressive overload is not harder, but it's hard. See the difference? It's challenging. What's the principle behind progressive overload? What's the, this is a little light bulb. What's the idea behind progressive overload? Why is it so important? It's because you need a challenge to get results, to get adaptations, to get improvement. This is a huge part of the logic why your body improves. So you need a challenge, right? The problem with the normal progressive overload, which is linear, while your improvement is not linear, is that on some days, it's gonna be too easy. On some days, it's gonna be too hard. Basically, here there's no challenge, and here the challenge is too much, and therefore you're not gonna improve because let's say your strength is here, this workout is gonna be easy. If your strength is here, this workout is gonna be hard. Also, by the way, let me remind you of something. If you go to Project Delta and free resources, here under YouTube summaries, you can see all of the summaries of every video that I posted on this channel. And also here in the all-in-one template, you can see all of the templates that I created in the videos, and you can get all of them in one place. And I actually add new stuff to this every week and every month. You can get all of this in the free resources in Project Delta, which is free to join, is the link in the description. Now, since what we want is not a progressively harder challenge, what we want is just a challenge. And as you progress, it's naturally, keyword, naturally, going to get harder. Okay? We are not forcing it to be harder. We just keep it hard, and as we improve, naturally the challenge is gonna get harder as well. Okay, this is the new progressive overload. So this is an example to really understand this. The normal progressive overload is, for example, each week you add like 1 rep. So you do 11 reps of an exercise, next week you plan 12, next week you plan 13, okay? Maybe this week you're weaker, this week you're stronger. The old progressive overload doesn't take that into account, which is a problem. The new progressive overload, for example, is more like this. It's a focus on, is each set challenging? Is it hard in the right way? This is true for both hypertrophy and strength. We're going to talk about this in a second. But this is the focus. So the focus shift on how hard it is, not on the specific reps or weight that you use. Okay? You don't progress reps and weight blindly. You just try to make sure that it's hard, and as you get better, which this approach gives you a much better chance to improve anyway, a challenging set is naturally gonna get harder. You're naturally gonna use heavier weights or more reps. So the normal approach is wrong because it assumes the wrong assumption really is that you can predict your progress, which is wrong. The normal progressive overload, which is like this, harder over time, assumes that you can predict your progress, which of course never happens, like you can't do that. And this leads to some workouts being too easy and some being too hard. Okay, so you sometimes do 11 reps when you could have done 15, or sometimes you do 13 reps when you should have done like 8. This is the problem. So just hard training is what we are really looking for. If training is hard, day after day, after days, after day, hard here, hard here, hard here, hard here, you accumulate so much training, stimulus of just the right kind that progress becomes inevitable. So this is what I do and what you're gonna do next time. So next time you're thinking about planning your progress, progressing reps, progressing weight, progressive overload, instead of thinking harder and harder, next time think just hard. And for basically what we can leverage, like the question is, of course, how do you make it just hard? How do you do that? I have a video that I'm gonna link in a second where I cover 3 methods called double progression, encore sets, and failure cap. Those 2 are for strength, this one is for hypertrophy, on how to manage your reps and your weight so that training is always hard to perfection. Like every day, the difficulty of training is perfect, and so you can do the right training every time, and you're gonna see a lot more progress, okay? This is very important. So I recommend that to actually put this in practice, you watch that video next. It's 30 minutes long. It goes into a lot of details, and a lot of those ideas I've never seen elsewhere on YouTube.